Good morning, everyone. It's good to see you all in here today. First of all, Happy New Year to all of you. I hope you had a good break and you were able to spend time with families and friends. And I wish you the best for this year to you and your families. And when it comes to the crew, we're super excited about the 2026 season. It felt quite lonely this past few weeks in this building, but seeing now staff coming in and then players coming in, now you guys, can't wait to get it started. And obviously having our fans on March 7th at home for our first game at the stadium. So pretty excited. The energy is great in the building and looking forward to this year. With that, I'll take any questions.
Good morning. I first want to start, has Henrik been able to arrive and be with the team in person yet?
Not yet. So obviously, like players, there's a process, immigration process. To be honest, I was jealous a little bit looking at in Europe where a new coach just arrives the next day, and for us it takes the usual 3 to 4 weeks. So we're in the process currently of securing his working visa, and then as soon as he has it, he will join us.
Do you have a timeline yet of when he should be able to arrive?
No, so based on when we signed all the documents and how things have gone, the timeline indicates that it would be mid next week. However, we're doing our utmost best to push it forward. So our staff is working on it hard, and hopefully he'll come sooner than mid next week.
How's the communication been with the team and him while he's not in what country is he in? Sweden right now?
He's in Sweden right now. So he's with me, it's been a daily communication. I mean, multiple times a day do we get on the phone. Sometimes it's half an hour, sometimes it's 2 hours, sometimes it's just a quick 10 minutes. But we chat quite often. And he talked to all the players, or at least the majority of them. So he made the effort of trying to connect with them, whether it's just a quick hello or just knowing to get to know them more. Just because obviously he's not here today. But I appreciate the fact that he went out of his way to try to call every single player on the roster, and that's what he's done.
What coach do you have right now kind of running the trainings that you've had here in Columbus so far?
Yeah, so it's not official yet, but we have hired Laurent Courtois as one of our assistant coaches. So he's the one running the sessions, and Laurent's been at our club before. He was a head coach in the league, so we're super confident, and the players also as well are bought in. He's running sessions that Henrik is putting in place, so it's easy. To be honest, it's not been an adjustment for our players.
You ended the season with a lot of injuries, and I was just wondering if you have any updates. Starting with Abu Ali, he had the ankle injury. Has he fully recovered from that?
Yeah, they've fully recovered from the injuries. I mean, some were quite late. I'll give you an example of Taha Haboun, who had a surgery towards the end of the year, so he's in the process of coming back. But for most part, they will all be ready for our opener.
Including Mofarzi, I saw he had a surgery as well during this offseason.
Yeah, so same thing. It's similar to Taha. These are very, very tricky. The sports hernia surgery. It's a trend, unfortunately, in our sports that's growing. Even when you look at overseas, a lot of players have such surgeries, so they're very tricky. So, there's it's a process. It's a return to play process, rehab process. But the plan is for them to be ready for our game in Portland.
And I believe you've signed over this past week 5 of the young players from the academy, and brings your total, I believe, to 30 players on the roster. Just what was the decision to sign those 5 players and skew kind of younger with this roster?
Yeah, and we're not done yet. But those kids have shown, I can't say kids, but they're, some of them are 20 plus. They've shown their worth, whether it was with Crew 2 or when they went on loan to the USL or in college. They are talented players. The same way when you look back, Taha was or Sean was. It's the same process. Some will have tremendous careers, some won't. But at the same time, these are players we believe in. They will bring some competition in our team, and let's see what the future holds for them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Issa, good morning.
Good morning.
In relation to signing the younger players, can you help us understand how those decisions were made in relation to having Henrik, on the contract that you have him on?
Specifically for those players.
Yeah, sure. I mean, was it a group decision to sign the younger players and get them going in the first team system, or was it, was it just a decision you told them, hey, look, this is what we're doing?
No, so for these specific players, these are players that obviously we have had in front of us for the past years every single day. So we've seen them. So it's not a Issa decision. It was a collective decision with our staff, with the former coaching staff, with the current academy staff. So it's a collective decision, or evaluating those players and trying to pick out the best. So these were decisions that were already made. And when we communicated with Henrik that this is the plan for them, and he was super excited to have young players like that. So
I have to ask you about the colors on the training top you're wearing. Are we going to see more of that from the players this year?
I believe so. I think it's, again, don't quote me there. It's more of our marketing team to talk about this. But I like the color. I mean, I like the colors on the Columbus flag. So if you can incorporate some of those on our kits, that'd be cool. And identify and relate more to the city. That'd be awesome.
What was it about your conversations with Rydström that set him apart from the other candidates? It was a great process, but with Henrik specifically, it's been great discussions about the way he sees the game, the way he sees his job and players, and what the game is. Soccer, generally speaking. How he always talked selflessly, that the club was bigger than him, and that the game and the players are bigger than him, and how he was looking forward to make player progress and staff progress and get the best out of those players and staff. And it was a great match, and at the end of the day, it wasn't just a decision that I took. It was a collective one where we ran a great process where he was able to meet with many people at our club, and then we all debriefed, and clearly he was the one that we wanted to go with. In your previous coach, you had somewhat of a romantic. In this coach, I feel like you have something of an eclectic coach, a guy who's got tremendous interest in a lot of areas outside of soccer. Do you feel that way?
I'd say Henrik is also romantic, and I'd say Wilfried was also eclectic. So
okay, all right.
they're I would say they're in a way they're kind of similar but different. But no, at the end, as much as Henrik is eclectic in having other interests, at the end of the day, he's also a, sorry for my term, but he's also a soccer junkie. He lives and breathes soccer. So yeah. No, it's at the end. Look, it's when you have a conversation with people and you don't want it to, or you look at your clock and wait, already 2 hours or 3 hours has passed. It's a good sign to that it indicates that it's a good person that you want to work with.
Yeah, thank you.
He said, "Have you lost weight?"
I don't know, probably because I didn't get to have holidays and eat a lot. So yeah, probably.
Yeah. What was your favorite part of the hiring process? Was it getting it done, or was there something in there where you learned something about yourself?
Yeah, no, I think my favorite part of that process, especially at the end, was when everything was done, I was so happy that we were able to involve a lot of people. So it wasn't just me meeting Henrik, having great discussion and wanting to go with him. When we decided that Henrik was our guy, it was great that a lot of people were able to say, oh yeah, Henrik, I love talking to him. So it was great to have this collective process. Speaking of the process, I'd like to highlight and thank our technical director, Mark Nichols. Back in 2022, he's the one also who
take a good chunk of the coaching search, and we went through a diligent process, and he was instrumental in this, and this time around again, with the help of Mark, we were able to run again a very diligent and calculated process where we took our time. Obviously, it was time crunched, but at the same time, we didn't want to rush. We wanted to get the right person because that role is so important. It influences more than just the 11 players on the field. It does have an impact on, maybe I'm over dramatic, but on a city. We'd like our players, our staff, our fans, and our city as a whole to rally behind that coach. So we believe we found that in Henrik.
What will fans see from the team stylistically if you could filter it down into a couple paragraphs to explain the way that he's going to play or intends to play, and how that may be the same or different from the way Wilfried Nancy played?
Yeah, so again, to try to be still high level, fans shouldn't expect much difference in terms of being proactive, being on the ball, being in control, building out of the back. So don't expect us to all of a sudden change our style of play dramatically. What we can expect as maybe being different is, yes, a lot of tactical nuances, but also being more direct in attacking the box, in creating chances, in pressing with more intensity. But ultimately, what I'd like to tell the fans is just expect the crew. I personally, when I first joined this league, when I was watching the crew, they played a certain way that was entertaining. Then played against Greg Berhalter, and his teams were entertaining and had possessions, and that's what we've done also this past years. And that was one of the main criteria into this process, is that we can't deviate too much because we are the crew. That's part of our DNA in the way we play. But at the same time, we needed a spark, and I think we found that in Henrik.
What has Henrik asked you for personnel-wise? For instance, I'm curious, he being so successful on set pieces in Sweden with his teams in Kalmar and Malmo. You don't have any tall people. Has he made any specific requests for different players? And second part of the question, he says, where are you with player acquisitions? Should fans expect some incomings over the next little while here before the season starts?
Mm-hmm. So to answer your first question, in terms of personnel, when we started, digging into our roster with Henrik, just high level as well, because we didn't go into detail of each single player and their strengths and weaknesses. But as a whole, when we asked Henrik, so what do you think of our roster? He said, I love it. He said that he sees that we have players that fit the way he wants to play, that have the skill set and the attributes. And he said, I'd be very excited to work with this group. So we didn't need that validation from outside, but it was reassuring and gratifying to hear his feedback and also the other candidates' feedback on the players we have internally. So he didn't go into specific in exactly what he needed, whether it's tall players or set piece takers or whatnot. Something that we'll do later. And so it gets me to your second question in terms of players acquisition. Again, we want to be smart, patient, and diligent. We were able to acquire Sekou Bangura, a profile that we needed, and we're excited about bringing him on. But at the same time, if there are opportunities to bring players that we really need and it's a necessity, we would do it in conjunction with Henrik. But I want to also be smart and want to take you back to 3 years ago when Wilfried first came, where it was the same thing. Wilfried wanted time to assess our roster. And at the time, I believe we just added, of notable players, we just added, it was Christian Ramirez. And then later on, with Will Sand's injury, we added Malde Amundsen, but we didn't do anything until the summer because we wanted to give the new coach time to assess our players. And clearly, there were players that didn't fit under the previous coach and fitted then, and then vice versa. So it's the same thing coming to this stage, whereby Henrik has an idea, wants to see players to the point that there are some players that were playing at specific position, and he wants to see them at other position and try, and based on that, then we will assess. That being said, if there are opportunities to strengthen our team, we will do it.
So you have nothing incoming at the moment. We shouldn't expect anything over.
We're working on some positions, yeah.
Okay.
Again, in conjunction with Henrik.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I just wanted to clarify Brianna's question about the injuries. Is everybody healthy to start preseason, just in terms of what we should expect?
Yeah, so healthy. If you ask 100%, most are. But then I just mentioned Taha is not there yet. Mo is not there yet. But again, the goal obviously is Portland. So for Portland, right now we're trending that everybody will be healthy. But currently we have a very strong group except those two, yeah.
Okay. The visa process, we hear about that a lot. Could you walk us through what that is for people who have never dealt, you tell people it's delayed because of visa issues, and they're like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
You've experienced it. What goes through that?
Yeah, I was joking earlier with our staff saying we should open an immigration firm just because we're going through this so often. And I want to take this opportunity as well to thank people within our staff that behind the scenes, you guys don't see this, but people like Kathy Schifferstein or Julio Velasquez, Elena Lemus, they work honestly day in and day out to get those things across the line, whether it's staff or players or come from outside of this country. It's a long process, and I've been through it multiple times, and you have different categories of visa and so on and so forth. So to make it simple, first you need a contract, a signed contract. From there, you apply for a work visa. So you apply, it takes 3 days to get a notice. Then once you get the notice, you're just waiting for the actual work permit. Once you get the work permit, this is the easiest version, 101. You may get a quiz at the end, but then 101, you get the work permit. Once you get the work permit, you apply for an appointment to a embassy. Then once you have that appointment, you go and interview essentially, leave your passport, then you have to wait to get your passport back. And only then, when you have your visa and your passport, can you travel. The tricky thing is, sometimes it's depending on so many things, administrations, holidays, and all these things. It can take total 3 weeks. Sometimes it can be expedited to 2 weeks, and sometimes it can take much longer to 5 weeks, and we've experienced that. So that's why it's always annoying to me, because whether it's to you, to ownership, even to players and staff, it's hard to give a precise date. All I can say is that our staff is working really hard to get across the line. Again, right now it is on time with the 3 weeks period where he and his staff would come mid next week, but they're working hard at the moment to get it quicker.
You talked about wanting to be diligent with the process, but knowing there's kind of a deadline here of the preseason starting, could this have been done any quicker, or was this how it had to play out and this was what you guys were?
It's how it had to play out.
Okay.
And I think we weren't too slow and we weren't too quick either. I think the process started late because we were made aware of Wilfried's departure quite late, but we were ready. Thank God we were ready in our succession planning, and also that we went through the process 3 years ago between Mark and myself, that okay, let's dust this up and let's go. So I think it took the time that it needed to take, and ultimately, if we were not confident in Henrik, for example, and we weren't sure, we would have still waited, I believe, because the biggest mistake would have been for us to just say, okay, let's take this guy because we need somebody and rush. Thankfully, we were able to get the person we wanted, and it took the time that it take. And through this process, we learned a lot as well. And I'm not going to name anyone, but I'd like to thank also all the candidates that went through the process, because we were able to meet tremendous people, and what they presented, we learned so much that it will help us in the future.
You mentioned parts of the staff with Laurent coming back, and I know there's some guys staying, new guys coming with him. Just when you're building a staff like that with kind of different parts from different places, how much do you think that having guys here that were familiar with the club, new ideas coming in, somebody who's been a part of it before coming back, like how does that makeup work in your mind? Why is this the right fit?
Yeah, I think it's a great mix because you're not stuck in your ideas and the old ways and this is how we do it in MLS, and you get new ideas. Ultimately, Henrik also agreed that we needed to have someone with MLS experience to understand, hey, we play in New England on turf and we play against this coach, he likes to play this way, and this player's on this team. So we needed MLS experience, but at the same time, honestly, it's an opportunity, it's an exciting time for us and for players that are looking forward to get something new, something fresh. So that staff is eclectic, which is great. And ultimately, it's just putting good people together and they'll be able to collaborate and do great things. And again, through our experiences past few years and through even the interview process, we also learn, okay, maybe we need to change the way we're structured. Maybe we need to add some specific coaches here and there. So that's what we're working on right now.
You talked about the way the crew plays, the DNA. Do you also believe that a team takes on the personality of its coach? And if so, how is this going to look different than maybe Wilfred?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, that's the reason why there are coaches. I mean, right now there are articles out there saying soccer don't need coaches. You have so many examples, Rob, where you have a roster, you have a coach who does tremendous thing with the exact same roster, and a new one that comes in and doesn't do well, and vice versa. But the players haven't changed. So yes, you have to have the coach that brings his energy, his ideas. How is this going to be different? Henrik is totally different than Wilfried. Yes, you have core principles. We just, first of all, as a person, and you get to meet him soon, you'll see that they're different. And also the way he wants to play is also different. So there are things that he sees currently in the way we play, and it's like, this is not how I am and how I want my team to play. And it's no different than Wilfried. Wilfried, the way we play reflected him in a way. The way our team is going to play will reflect Henrik. So yes, a coach has a big imprint on how a team plays. But at the same time, we have to think of the crew of, is it the right side? Yeah, it is. Of the crew, that we cannot bring someone that will just disrupt what this club is about and what our fans are expecting. So it was important to bring someone that fits this club.
You said or you want to be a little more aggressive. Is there a fine line between being aggressive and a risk taker? Is he maybe more of a risk taker?
I mean, we had a fair share of risk taking this past few years. So if you all want to have heart attacks, you can be more risky. But no, when I said aggressive, it's more maybe on the pressing side. So I think we're a good pressing team, but that's a side where we could be better. And even talking to players and staff, it's something that we all recognize, that it's an area we can be more aggressive and winning the ball more and higher. And don't get me wrong, we were good. Can we be better? That's the question.
Let's take a few more.
Issa, as you talk to Henrik and you get ready to start this preseason, what are the things you kind of lay out as with February 21st as the end goal that you're looking to see and progress through with the team?
Yeah, so again, it takes me back to also 3 years ago where our players were so engraved in playing a certain way that you had to change, but little by little. You can't just throw everything at them. The great thing about this is Henrik, seeing the way we played, he recognized that there are a lot of good foundation in the way he wants to play that are already existing with our style and also our players. So I'm sure he's going to come in, want to impose how he wants his team to play, but at the same time, it will be little by little. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, and then with such a strong returning group, what is it that is exciting to you about the start of this preseason with new coaching and what the team can accomplish going forward?
Yeah, so yesterday was the first time I saw the players again. Whether I saw them in the cafe or on the field or in the gym. And every time I was seeing one of the players, like, oh yeah, we have this guy. Almost like you forget in a way, but you get excited. You get super excited about, okay, no, we have a strong team. We have. I'm not going to name them all because I don't want to go into details, but we have strong players. We have a strong team. You can see on their face the excitement that they have and how they look forward to this new season. And I think that spark will get the best out of them. So, yeah, we have a good team, but at the same time, I'm not going to stay here and say we'll stand still. We'll still try to bring players to have those good players in the building compete at training because they have a spot to fight for. So the plan is to bring players, but at the appropriate time.
Just one from me. Issa, what was the biggest thing you learned from this whole hiring process? This is the first one you've done as a GM yourself. What was the biggest thing you took away from this whole process?
Yeah, it's funny because even when you ask about player acquisition or if you ask about the first season, it's hard to see it that way because I was there, 3 years ago, and the same way we work closely with Mark and others. 3 years ago, 4 years ago, it was the same thing where we worked super closely with Mark and Tim, and so it wasn't my first one. I'd say it's always my second one. But to answer your question, what I learned was I really appreciate the fact that it was a collaborative decision. I tried to involve as many people as I could, people that will work with him, and try to hear from everyone. And ultimately, when you see that we were all on the same page and it's also the same things, it just confirms and reassures you in your decision. So, no, it was a great process. It didn't deviate from what we've done in the past. Ultimately, you need to get a good person that will, influence a lot of people, and of course, a good coach. So, yeah.
We have time for one or two more, Brianna.
I do want to ask, obviously, everything that's happened with over in Scotland, and just do you have any thoughts on what it's been like watching from the side and seeing what's happened over there?
No, I don't have much to say. It's unfortunate that it didn't turn out the way he wished, but I have no worries for him. He'll do great things in the future.
Thank you.
Great, let's take one more from Grant.
And then obviously today, the club announced that Sean got extended. Can you just talk a little bit about what he means to the club and what that decision was to get him for some more years?
Yeah, so I can be here. You have 2 hours. Sean is what we want to do as a club. Develop players from within, from this state, from this city. Players that understand what this club means. Players that play not just for themselves, not just for a paycheck, not just for a career, but they understand it's what this club means. And having a player like Sean coming at age 13 and going through the ranks and then coming with our second team, then integrating our first team, playing, starting, winning, you can't ask anything more than that. Maybe it's a wishful thinking or a dream, but you've heard of Paolo Maldini and Totti and Carles Puyol. Those guys were one club person, one club man, and they were great players, but what they were greater at and even more important at is they were the club. They were the ones that were the steward of the club and the one that held those principles, those values to everyone that was coming into the building. So the goal with Sean is he signed through till 2030, and then hopefully he'll sign again to 2040. But my point is, anyone that will come to the building, Sean will be there to remind them what the crew is about, and that this is a winning club. We do things a certain way, and no one will be able to say anything back to him because he represents the Columbus Crew.
Great, thanks everybody. Thank you, Issa.
Thank you.
Thanks, Issa.
With that, we have Sean Zawadzki coming in as well.
Hello, good morning.
You left off last season with injury. Just how was the recovery process like, and where are you right now?
Yeah, I feel good. Spent the first couple weeks in the off season, coming in here and doing what I can to strengthen the different muscles around the area to help feel more comfortable. And I think this off season was centered a lot on that. Feel good and ready to go.
Is there any worry in the back of your mind? It was the same, your left or right?
Right knee.
Right knee, it was your right knee each time this season, the last season, right? Is there any concerns about that going this new season?
I wouldn't say concern. Obviously, it might be in my mind, but not really too worried about it in general. I think I've done a lot this offseason to make it feel as close to normal as possible, and we'll continue to do stuff every day to make sure it feels good.
What were the conversations like this offseason? I know obviously you have the extension, but regarding where you will be playing this season without Darlington, there's always an option of moving back up. Have you kind of figured that out yet, or is that still a work in process?
I think it's still a work in progress. I think once we get the new staff in, and I think we kind of have those conversations, and they kind of implement what they want to their tactics and everything within the team. I think things will kind of start to fall in place a little bit, and hopefully become more clear.
What was that like for you, learning that Wilfred was departing, and then Issa just said you both kind of talk a little with Henrik, the conversation, just learning who he was.
Yeah, obviously, kind of close to that chapter in our lives in the club. We had a lot of success with them, and a great first time here. But I think everyone's, flipped ahead to this new chapter that we have in store. Had the conversations with them, and I think it's exciting. I think everyone should be excited about him and what his staff wants to come in and implement. I know that everyone here is ready for him to be here and hit the ground running and be ready to go for that first game.
What has he said to you?
It's not what he said to me, but it's just kind of the level of comfortability you can already see with the conversation you have with him. He's the person you can go to with anything, it seems, and he's a quiet voice, at least on the conversation, but someone that you can rely on to have your back.
Hey, congrats on the contract extension.
Thank you.
What was your reaction when you heard Laurent Courtois was joining the staff?
Brought back some good memories. Just kind of with this time here, having him around the facility again is great. Having him within the team is great. He's someone who, kind of from the first day I got here, has been a big part of my journey here, and so I'm grateful to have him back.
From the outside looking in, this roster appears to be very comfortable. 12 players from the 23 Cup title game. In addition to Wessam Abu Ali, who has a couple of league championships and a scoring title under his belt, and now you've got a coach who's accustomed to winning league championships. Is there an overriding sense of confidence here that, wow, we've all been there before, we could do it again?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's kind of been everyone's mentality and thought process ever since they stepped in the doors here. We know what this club stands for. We know what this club always wants to compete for trophies, and I think we have the players and the staff to do that, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Thanks.
You mentioned to Brianna not knowing for sure where you'll be. Going into a preseason, is that somewhat difficult? I know you've played both positions and are comfortable there, but just not having that kind of vision of here's how my season might play out in your mind. A
little bit, kind of the indecisive side of things, but just going to attack every day. Wherever in training, wherever position I'm going to be at, I'm going to kind of learn the system that way. And whenever the adjustment comes to switching positions, I'll do the same thing. Just kind of do what I've done the last couple of years, is adjusting to whatever's put in front of me, and I'll give everything I can for the club and for the guys around me.
Having Laurent back, you already said it's nice having him around the building, but somebody at least some of you guys are familiar with in training, does that help a little bit when you don't have a head coach here yet?
Yeah, I think so. I like the comfortability of having him around. You know what he expects, you know how he thinks, and just being able to kind of bounce things off of him while we wait. I think that's really nice to have.
Have you seen, I don't know if growth or change is the right word for him? Obviously, he had this experience in Montreal. Do you notice any differences, good, bad?
I wouldn't. As of now, I wouldn't say so. I just think it's nice to see him again, more so than anything else, and just seeing his face again, and being able to have conversations that we had with him a couple years ago. Yeah. So just excited for that.
Sean, during the process, what, for lack of a better word, anxieties or maybe fears that you have just not knowing, and then how were those anxieties relieved once you had a conversation you mentioned with Brianna that you felt at ease with talking with them?
I wouldn't say anxieties or anything like that. I think it was just kind of, when's it going to happen and who's it going to be? I know the front office and everyone always has the best interest at heart for everyone, all the candidates, whoever it may be. And I think everyone was just excited for the opportunity to see who it was going to be. And then once having that conversation with them, it kind of releases a little bit of it, to feel comfortable now that, all right, he's someone who's had success in the past, and now he's coming to a club that's had success. And how can we match up and continue to build a team and continue to take us to new heights?
And as you begin preseason training, what are you looking for in these first couple of days and weeks that will tell you that you guys are on the right path toward how being as prepared as possible for the season opener?
I think the most important thing right now is building fitness and building that cohesiveness that we had. Obviously, it was a long off season, and how can we get back to where we're fitness wise and giving everything? It's easy to kind of go through the motions sometimes, especially with the staff not being here. But how can we lean on each other to push each other more and get us to game ready as soon as possible? And looking forward to that first game.
Change can be good, change can be a little scary. As it pertains to the crew specifically, what's the best part of this coaching change that you see, and maybe what's the most challenging part as you enter into it?
I think first off, the most challenging part is it's someone coming from a different country, and I think a little bit now is waiting game to see when he'll get here. And we might be behind the eight ball a little bit in terms of how we want to, when he comes in, implements his style and kind of getting that across to us. But I think it's exciting also in the same scenario, just because it's someone new. It's a new chapter, and it's a new opportunity to continue to see what heights we can reach as a club, and how can we continue to bring a brand of football that the city can enjoy and that everyone within the organization can enjoy.
Is there a bit of a gut check's too strong, but depending where you are in the pecking order on a team, a new coach comes in, it can be like,
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a clean slate for everyone. It's a new coach. He doesn't really, he'll watch maybe some clips, some video of years past to get to know everyone. But at the end of the day, he's coming in, and it's a clean slate for everyone to show him what you're capable of. And I think that's also it can be a little nerve-wracking for some. And how can you kind of put that aside and just go out and do what you're able to do? And he'll make the decisions, and I think everyone respects that.
And sort of reading about Henrik's style, players kind of talked about being comfortable in the uncomfortable, which I think you guys have done with Wilfried. It's different, I think, in how you may go about it, but that idea of just being uncomfortable in situations that other guys, how much do you think that can help you kind of speed that along once he does arrive?
Yeah, I think with the history we have of, like you said, of being uncomfortable is beneficial to us. It's different if you're always so regimented in what you do, and now having a coach like him come in and, like you said, being comfortable with the uncomfortable, and having the history of that it gives us a little jump on everyone, I would say, and won't make that transition period as hard, I would say. So yeah.
Thanks, Sean.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Patrick.
All right, let's dive into it with Patrick Schulte. Brianna?
Good morning. Patrick Schulte, obviously, you have a new coach coming in. Just what has the conversation, if there's been any conversation with him, been like?
It was good. I had a conversation with him the other day, or I don't even know when, but at some point. But it was good. He expressed his ideas, just got to know each other. His kind of vision of how he wants to play, and areas that he thinks we need to improve on. But for the most part, it was just getting to know each other first, kind of conversation basis, and wasn't a deep dive. He said we'll get into that later, but it was good. It was a good conversation.
What was it like learning that Wilfred was going to be leaving and knowing that you'd be getting a new coach?
I think it's something that in this profession is always gonna happen, especially when you have high-level players, high-level coaches, coming through this building and being able to work with them day in and day out. So it wasn't a surprise, because I know how good of a coach he is, that people are going to be interested in him. So it wasn't anything I wasn't shocked by, I would say. But obviously always, sad, tough to, at least lose someone that you worked with and worked well with.
Was it nice to know that Bill was staying? And a lot of times when coaches leave, a lot of staff ends up departing, but Bill was one of the few staying. Really like going, like he was going to be staying here.
It was obviously for me, it's a blessing. When you have a relationship with somebody like that, and that is going to push you, and his work style and the way he likes to work. It's good. You don't have to learn a whole new routine or anything like that. So very happy to have him still on the staff.
And just what's been your biggest focus of the season? I know there are ups and downs last year. Just the off season, what were you focusing on?
Just consistency and just being able to come in this year with a clear mind, being 100% healthy and ready for whatever is going to this year's going to bring. Every year's a new year, and there's going to be new ups and downs. But just trying to be at the best of my ability right from the get-go.
Were you still dealing with the aftermath of that injury that you had in Charlotte throughout the rest of the season?
I wouldn't say dealing with it, but just more so just the mental roller coaster of it all. Always having that in the back of your head. At first it was trying to get my body just to being back to trusting it and being back to where I wanted to be. And I felt like, it took me a while, but I eventually got there. And sadly, the season ended, pretty soon after that. So, that was my goal this year, was just to kind of come in and just be right where I wanted to be right from the get-go.
And you kind of came into your own yet again in the latter part of the season. You combine that with stints with the national team. Now we move into a World Cup year. I mean, this is sort of similar to winning the Cup in 2023, where you've got the body's working, the mind's working, the game's on, and now you've got even bigger things to look forward to, don't you?
Yeah, obviously it's out there, the World Cup being this year, but trying not to put focus on that. 'Cause I think if you look too far ahead, you lose focus on the present, and that's been something I really wanted to focus on, was just not worrying about what's going to come. God's got a plan for me, and just focusing on the day to day.
Phil's back. So is Evan Bush.
Legend. Legend.
What was your expectation, I'm sure, was that he would be back for another year, right?
Yes, yeah. I've had many conversations with him. Obviously, him and I are really close, and he told me pretty early on that he was going to come back if everything kind of worked out, the way it was projected to work out. And very happy to have him back, and he's definitely a good guy for this, not just the goalie group, but for the team as well.
Thanks.
How do you mentioned kind of keeping World Cup thoughts out there, but I mean, that seems pretty big, the potential of that. How do you balance that? How do you separate like what could be coming with you want to be focused on now?
If I'm not focused on now, then I'll have no chance at the future. Honestly, that's the way I've kind of approached it as of late, and not just, if I'm not playing good here, I have no chance. So for me, it's just focus on now, and focus on this team, the new staff, and just trying to be the best of my ability. And like I said, God's got a plan for me, and just gonna let that take over.
Do you have any indication from Henrik yet about how he'll use goalkeepers? Obviously, you were very involved with your feet and stuff. We talked to you about that early on in your career with Wilfried. Do you see that continuing? Do you see things changing? Just have you had those conversations?
Yeah, I think it's, if you look at his teams at Malmo and so forth, they like to play. Is it going to be as much as it was with Wilfried? I don't know. We'll see what happens. But, from the conversations we've had, it's, goalkeeper's an additional player and can be a +1. And if I can help exploit the game, then I'm going to do so. But if not, if I don't need to be, involved as much, then that's just the way that the game's going to go. But yeah, I think so. It's going to be a similar way, if I had to guess.
And we talked with Sean about having Laurent back around. He seemed pretty excited about it. You obviously knew him during his time here. Just your reaction to having him back in the building.
Yeah, it's awesome. Sean and I were talking with him after practice yesterday for like 30 minutes, 25 minutes, and it's just good to catch up with him. He's had a roller coaster since he's left here, but we know the kind of coach he is, and to have a guy like that with his knowledge and his passion for the game around us each and every day and wanting to help us grow as players and to help him grow as a coach, it's awesome to have.
Time for a couple more.
Patrick, you mentioned coming in with a clear mind. How did you reflect back on the ups and downs of last season, and how are you approaching this year maybe differently than in previous years in your career?
Yeah, like I said, just trying to focus on the now, the present moment. I felt like sometimes last year I'd look too far ahead and not be just where my feet are and be present in the moment. And I felt like that kind of got away from me, and just wanted with doing that, I've had more of a clear mindset, clear vision of just overall just general mentality throughout the off season, and just trying to enjoy each and every moment that I've been given. So that's really been my focus, and I think if I'm doing that, then I can be at my best.
Was that a gradual realization, or did you have maybe an aha moment during the off season?
A little bit of gradual, but it was something that I felt like towards the end of the year I started to find that that happiness, that peace of just focusing on myself and just being present. Whatever happens, and just letting the best version of myself come out and not looking too far ahead. And yeah, I felt really good about it, and so when I went into this offseason, I really focused on that and just focusing on each and every training session or lift or yoga session that I was doing, or just spending time with family, just trying to enjoy it all and embrace it all.
You do yoga all the time, or is that a recent thing?
I do it all the time at home. You got to start doing it more here, though.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Everybody set? Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you, yes.
Patrick.